All right, you guys will never believe who's actually here at my studio.
Jimmy, I need a preset.
What?
I need a preset.
Look at this guy.
What I'm doing.
What are you playing through?
I'm just strumming through my Line 6 Pod Go that I've set up, but it's presetless.
Oh, we need help. All right, so you need help building a preset.
Jimmy, I need a preset.
He needs a preset.
I don't actually know what that means, to be honest.
Have you ever played through the Pod Go ever?
I've just when I was was I playing through the Pod Go
yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. But you've never.
I didn't even touch it though. I didn't even know that that's what I was playing through.
That's true. We had it hooked up because you normally play acoustic.
I play acoustic.
He plays acoustic. Hey, if you don't know, this is Spencer from Leading Worship Well. Go check out his channel. Lots of good content over there. But since he's here in the studio, we might as well do some Pod Go content. And since he's always playing acoustic, I thought it would be cool to build a preset from scratch. I've already named it Spencer. You can see that. But nothing's done. This is a stock preset, and we're just going to build a preset together that you would use on a Sunday. So follow along. If you have a Pod Go, let's build this preset together. And the first thing, this is the most important thing that I like to say a lot, is that you can't slap effects on a bad sounding amp and expect magic to happen. So when we have something cool like this with all these bells and whistles and toys to play with and effects, we want to hop straight to that. But no, we're not going to do that, okay? I
need an amp more than I need a preset.
Yeah, that's right. So here we go. You can just follow along. I'm pushing home so that I can see my signal flow. Spencer, this is your signal flow. So I'm just going to teach you, and they're going to follow along. Unlike guitar pedals, this is one of the biggest beefs I have with these modelers, where guitar pedals, you plug it in on the left, the right, and it heads left. This is not a guitar pedal. This is a modeler that is shaped more like a doll. So it's going left to right. So your guitar, even though we plugged it in over here, starts here and is going this direction, which is important to know for signal chain. So in order to pick different effects, you have to select them, and we are going to select, we can turn on and off our amp. We can click this button and pick different amps. Do you know any amps?
I just want like a really good IR.
Oh, an IR. Okay, cool. So an IR is an impulse response. That is the cab. So we'll get to the cab.
Oh,
we'll get to
I know nothing.
See, this is perfect. This is perfect because I didn't know what an IR was. Like on this channel, I was like, impulse response? I think I need one. I don't know. We'll get to that. Let's pick out an amp that I really love. The Matchstick 1, which is like a matchless DC channel 1, I think. Okay, so we'll just push home. And now we can go over to our cab.
I need a really good IR here.
Yeah. Perfect timing. Okay, so an IR would replace the cab. So in all an impulse response is it's a capture of a specific like speaker that is in an amp at a specific time with a specific microphone. So in the Pod Go, we have like all these options. These are pretty much IRs anyways, but I've made my own IR. So we're gonna use one of mine. So I'm gonna go over here and toggle over to the impulse response folder. Yes, I'm gonna click on that. And now we can select which one we want. And I have a bunch in here, but we're going to select my new clean. I think I like the clean one. So let's do that. So let's just, everything's stock. This is a matchless amp with my IR. Let's just. You keep playing, and I'm going to change some IRs, just so we can hear how that affects the tone. That sounds good. It's clean. Now let's mess with the amp a little bit because I have some settings in the amps that I like messing with. So that is a really clean sounding amp. I'm going to push the drive a little bit more. Okay, channel volume and master is like on an amp. Channel volume is pure volume. So you can, if your preset's too loud or not loud enough, you can adjust the channel volume without affecting your tone. Whereas master, if you adjust the master, you're affecting like how it interacts with the fake tubes. I like to pull back the sag, the hum, the ripple. These aren't things you need to really know. I'm just doing some of my preferences. Strum something nice and pretty again. Bringing in a little more presence. That's beautiful. That's good. So we can hear some of that top end. Okay, I like it. Because my IR is already a little darker, so that I'm not afraid to push the highs of the amp, because if you don't know, let me tell you, Spencer, sometimes the stock cabs can interact with the amps and they can get a little harsh sometimes, so you have to use some of the cuts and all that stuff, and I've already done that in this IR, so we don't have to do all that. Okay, there we go. We have a pretty good sounding amp. Hit it to the bridge pickup. That's pretty good. I'm gonna add a little more gain. Now I am gonna show you a little trick. I wasn't gonna do this in this video, but we are stuck with, in the Pod Go, I'm not using my jailbreak preset like I said I was going to. I have a jailbreak preset where you aren't stuck with all these blocks, but this is a stock block, so a stock preset, so that's fine. You can find my jailbreak preset in my expanse pack. It's like a collection of presets if you've never heard of it. It's ever growing, but you only pay once, so go check it out. It's linked down below. Since we have a limited amount of blocks, I like to use what they give us to have different gain stages, more drive. So what we can do over here on the drive is we can assign a foot switch to affect something. So right now it's on bypass. I could turn it on and off the amp, which I don't want to do. Who wants to turn off your amp? But I can select a parameter like drive and tell it to go to controllers. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to tell it to go to 4, foot switch 4. Now we're on that foot switch, and I can do a minimum and maximum value. So we were somewhere around here, let's say, and I'm going to save that. We'll save our work. And right now you can see that this foot switch toggles up and down the drive. So this is where we were. It's like cranking. Now that made it way louder. Yeah. It made it way louder. And so we can also do the same thing to our channel volume and bring down the channel volume too. So we're gonna go to parameter, channel volume on controller 4, boom. And we're actually going to take our channel volume, it's gonna be opposite. So our min is gonna be higher than our max because our max was the max of the drive. Let's start with that and see how that works. We have more drive, but it's not overly loud. I just dialed it back a little bit. Okay, second thing. We are stuck in the Pod Go with an EQ. I can't delete that and put something else there, so we have to use an EQ. So something I like doing is you can put an EQ at the end of your chain and shape your guitar. Like if this has muddier pickups than say my Telly, I could use this to click on and click off based on which guitar I'm using, or I like to use that as another layer of drive. And if I'm going to do that, I would put it before the amp so that it starts affecting the tone of the amp. And then you can change which EQ we want. I like using the Cali or the 10-band graphic EQ. And then we just start pushing some of the mids. Do like just a big strum, like a hard strum of. So we have 3 different sounds already, and we haven't even added an overdrive pedal. We've just utilized what's in there. What do you think so far?
Amazing.
Amazing. I know. Yeah. So we've used the amp drive and we used the EQ for different overdrive sounds, but We also want to make this like, we want another stage of overdrive, right?
I always want more drive. I was telling Jimmy this yesterday when I was playing. I said, just crank me to 10.
Yes, that's right. Now, one thing I like to do with my volume pedal right here, my volume pedal, is to put it after my drives. This is important. This is a signal chain issue because you already have a volume here. And what this volume will do is as you back off, it actually like decreases the output of the pickups, so you're gonna drive your amp less. You could do that too if the volume is in front of everything. It's just acting like your volume knob. But I don't like doing that because I already have a volume knob. So I'm going to move this after my drives, which this just decreases pure volume now. It's not affecting the tone of your drive section. So now we need to go get an actual overdrive. Do you know any overdrive pedal? I'm talking to an acoustic player.
Tube Screamer.
A Tube Screamer. Let's go get a Tube Screamer. There we go.
Give me a Tube Screamer.
So we need to go to distortion. Are you hearing it?
I like that.
Scream 808. There we go. Nice. So let's assign this to a foot switch. Going to bypass control, and I want that to be foot switch 5. Let's do it. There it is. Now we'll turn that off. Now, did you hear what was just happening?
I heard a lot of buzz.
You heard some
I think
buzz.
We're gonna need some sort of gate or some sort of noise reduction.
I wish there was one built in. Oh, there is. Let's go up here to the front, which is not a block. It's this little circle right here. And let's turn all this on. Just listen with your ears. All right. The factory setting of the input gate is perfect.
So if I play now, it'll just come through perfectly. How about if I play really quiet?
Feel it a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But would I ever?
Well, let me teach him. Well, you might not if you have all this drive on, but now play softly. So how to dial in an input gate is that you want to go get your noisiest, a noisy signal. I keep doing this. And turn the threshold down until the noise goes away. So let's stop playing. Let's just hear. So that's 20 dB less. And so you should have more of your softer signal coming through. If your input gate is, the threshold is too high, let me just crank it so we can hear what happens. Now try to play something soft. Now hit it. It's chopping off your signal way too early. So let's bring this back down in the 60s because that's what it feels like with this guitar. Pretty quiet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. All right, cool. Let's save our progress. Now we are building a worship preset here. So what do we need? What do you think we need next?
Probably need some ambiance.
Ambiance, a wet section. So I would either pick reverb or delay. And lately, I think I would pick delay before reverb. So let's go to delay first. I feel like you need delay. Like if you're gonna run out of space, I would start with a delay. So let's go over here to delay. And we have a bunch to choose from, but one of my favorite is the transistor tape because it has this wow and flutter. So just hit us just punch it like. Hear how it kind of wobbles? I personally like that, and I like to crank that a little bit. I like to switch my time to quarter because I don't like thinking in milliseconds. I want to know like how my BPM is divided. And then the one other thing I like to do is I turn my spread up if I'm playing stereo. And then my scale, we talked about this yesterday just a little bit, but scale brings down, actually that was at rehearsal. I was teaching Evan, who has my HX stomp. Scale, if you don't know what that is it will take a second repeat and put it at whatever scale you want. And so here's a little hack. You can set it at 75%, which will give you 75% of whatever this is set at, which right now is at a quarter. If you're good with fractions, 75% of a quarter is 3/16. That may mean nothing, but that is a dotted eighth of a quarter because it's half and then half again. Anyways, math lesson. But now punch it. So we have a quarter and a dotted eighth at the same time. So now maybe just pluck something pretty. That's pretty good. If you thought that the feedback was too long, that if you think the trails are too long, that's called feedback. You would just back that up a little bit. Or if you want to fill up space with your chords, if you're playing rhythm or maybe some lead lines, you might crank up the feedback, but then maybe bring down the mix a little bit. Because mix is like how much delay, not how long it is. If I wanted a dotted eighth, like right now we have a quarter with a dotted eighth. But we're getting in deep. Let's give value here. Let's set a parameter to switch this to dotted eighth and switch this back to 100 because we don't want 75% of 100. So we're gonna go to the 6th button here, bypass control. We want our time to be on control foot switch 6. The minimum value where we are right now is a quarter, but we want it to go to dotted eighth when it's on. Now we're going to go to scale and set that to the same foot switch 6. And then the scale right now, when it's off, is 75%. Remember, because we had a quarter and 75%. But then when we click the button, we want to go to 100. And we will save that as well. So now, when it's off, it's a quarter and a... So this is just dotted eighth. So if I needed that edge sound where it's like... That's good. And that is really all you need. But we have more space. We might as well play with some more toys, right? So let's go get an ambient reverb, because what I like to do is turn on and off a super ambient reverb and have it like, sometimes I'll end a song in the chord and I'll click on my reverb and have it just wash, act like a nice pad. So let's go get one. And I like the dynamic hall. This is just the reverb. I'm gonna turn the mix up where it's like too much. This is... All right, let me teach you something. So, say you just hit that last chord and I turn it off. It just like cut off, it went away. I don't want that. No. If we don't want that, we want to put our trails on. So now hit a chord. Keeps going even though the reverb is off. And that's what we want. So we want to make sure our trails are on. I'm going to assign this to foot switch 3. There's nothing on here. And I'm just going to do a bypass for now. Boom. So yeah, hit another chord. Do it now. Now you can play on top of it if you wanted. I dialed it in way too thick just to have just use it as that ambient reverb. Now we have one more spot left. We're almost done. We've done everything. A lot of times I like to put a compressor here. But let's say we don't want to do that because that's boring. You know, we don't want a compressor. Yeah. That's too boring. We could, this is important to see. I want to add another reverb. It's grayed out. It won't let us because we've used up too much DSP. So I could either go back and try to find a less DSP reverb, which the Glitz reverb is one, but we're not. We're going to do some fun modulation. I like chorus. Now, this is important. I just assigned it to foot switch 2, but what happened before we got to this preset is that the effects loop, this has an effects loop where you can put other pedals in it, was automatically assigned to foot switch 2. And if there's nothing in the effects loop and you turn the effects loop on, nothing will happen. So play right now. It just muted everything. So we need to unassign foot switch 2. So I'm going to go to the effects loop and go to bypass control. You can see it's set to foot switch 2. I'm putting it on none. And now we have a preset with drive. So this is just delay, except I left it on.
So this is just delay, right?
Yeah, this is just your amp and delay. And let's move our chorus to after our amp. And I'm gonna turn it on, so play something. I like it. How you feel?
I'm ready to rock.
Are you ready?
To give up the acoustic forever and to go to this fine reverend guitar.
Awesome. Hey, if you want to dive deeper into learning the Pod Go, there are a couple resources. One is free. It's called my Tone Secrets Guide. It's a free PDF download with pictures and instructions on a lot of the things we covered today and even more in-depth stuff. If you just want presets by this weekend, you're like, hey, I want this stuff dialed in for me, check out the Expanse Pack that I mentioned earlier. And if you want to get super serious about tone with the Pod Go, I actually just released the Pod Go for Worship course, so check all that out. Thank you, Spencer, for coming on the channel.
Yeah.
Nice to have you. See you in the next video.